So 6 years ago, I was upskirted at Raffles Place MRT station at one of the pharmacies there. It was late in the evening and I was just testing some cosmetic at the cosmetic aisle. And that's when I stared at the reflection in the mirror and I saw a man. So he looked shocked. Something just didn't feel right. I then quickly went to check the second aisle, and at that point I was there and there was no one. So because it happened all quite quickly, I thought it was just me. And then soon after, like a few seconds later, I felt something was just not right, and I turned to my left, and that's when I saw him crouching down with a phone in his hand. He actually darted out immediately. So I actually asked one of the staff to help review the footage. So she came back with her hand clutching her chest and she said, yes. And I asked her to check the second time because I felt like, the guy probably upskirted me twice. And she came back with tears in her eyes saying that, he upskirted me twice. So I then went down to Kreta Ayer to make the police report. At that moment, I felt really pissed. I was like, okay, it's Raffles Place MRT station. It's such a busy place. How could this person actually do such a blatant act, right? When I shared my stories with my close friends, I realized I would actually say, I was wearing a dress. It was actually quite lengthy. And then soon after, I realized this over-explanation was just unnecessary because the whole act of upskirting is just incorrect. I still pass by the pharmacy now and then, and I remember the initial few months after the incident, it did actually bring back some negative emotions. I also had a fear of forgetting how he would look like because I was worried that the investigation officer were to ask me how he looks like, I would have to remember his face and his exact attire. 5 months after the incident, the police then reached out. I was very relieved to hear that the upskirter had been apprehended. So he offered $2,000 restitution, which I turned down. So soon after, the police then updated that he got 2 weeks jail. Well, I feel that the jail term is relatively short. At that point, I was like, well, at least he got apprehended, and I know a lot of cases actually do go unresolved. So sometimes when I go on Reddit, I do see similar stories by other people. That would be when I actually respond and give my advice and share my experience, hoping that it will help them in any way.